When I was 8 years old, my mother told me we were moving. Moving where? My thought was somewhere in Selma. She put a big map on her bed and pointed to where we were. Selma, Alabama. Then she dragged her finger across the East Coast and stopped at Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I never heard of the city. It wasn't in the South, and I didn't understand why we were moving so far away. She said she had a sister that lived there, my Aunt Clara. I never heard of her before. My grandmother had 12 children. At the time, I only knew about half of them, and most of them moved away before I was even born. Now we were about to move somewhere I have never been with family I never knew. As an 8-year-old boy from a small town in the South, I couldn't really process what was happening or why. I had my mom and my big brother and my little sister, and as long as we were all together, I guess we would be all right. As weeks passed by, we got closer to the move day. My mom started to sell things we wouldn't need or be too much to bring with us. Each day, some things would disappear. I didn't mind when I came home and saw someone dragging out our recliner. I didn't bat an eye when the TV was gone. It was all right. The long cabinet in the living room was being carried out. To this day, I don't know why I reacted the way I did when I saw two men carrying out the refrigerator. I was devastated. I lost it. My mom tried her best to comfort me. "It's okay, Jeff. We don't need it right now." "Well, where are we supposed to put our food?" I asked, screaming in tears. "We have a cooler with lots of ice. It's only for a couple of days. We'll be leaving soon." I remember eating a bowl of Fruity Pebbles the next morning, and the milk was cold. I felt better about the move after that. When we got to Philadelphia, I was asleep in the back seat of my mom's car. When I woke up, all I saw was buildings taller than I've ever seen before. The streets were busy, cars and people everywhere. It was something like out of a movie. Everything just seemed faster. It was exciting and confusing at the same time. My aunt lived on the 5600 block of North 10th Street in the Olney section of Philly. At the time, I didn't know where we were. I'd never seen row homes before, so I thought they were all apartments. And in fact, my aunt's place was an apartment. I never saw an apartment like this. It was a duplex. She lived upstairs with her two teenage sons who I never knew existed. It was all just too much at once for me. Like it's one thing to move. It's another thing to move to a city that you've never heard of and it being a completely different pace of life. Culture shock. It was September, so it got dark early, and it was cold all day instead of just the mornings and late evenings. Usually for us in Selma, the mornings were cool, but by the afternoon, you didn't even need a jacket. Street lights. On my street in Selma, we had just one. I never seen so many street lights. They were everywhere. For some reason, I was a little scared. Something just didn't seem safe about needing all these lights. We were enrolled into the local elementary school. How? I was in the 3rd grade. I remember my first day. My teacher was Miss Murray. I was a tiny kid. I had to get a smaller desk that the first or second graders would use. I remember the kids giggling and me feeling a little embarrassed. I was extremely shy as a kid. There was this girl that helped me get myself set up and explained what they were working on. She was very nice to me. I didn't speak much, but everyone smiled or laughed every time I did say something because of my deep southern accent that I didn't realize at the time was so different than the way they spoke. Where I'm from in Selma, we went to a school called Tipton. Tipton went from kindergarten to the 12th grade. In the 80s, the lunches were cooked right there in the kitchen attached to the lunchroom. Everybody ate the food. The teachers, the students, the principal, even the janitor, everybody. It was good food. I remember one particular lunch lady, for some reason, really took a liking to me. She would always have a little something extra for me. Sometimes it was cookies, sometimes a piece of cake. So lunchtime was always awesome for me. Fast forward to Philadelphia at Howe Elementary, a public school. The lunches they provided to me at first was almost inedible. For the first few days, I ate nothing. In about a week, I could nibble on a few things, but I was always starving coming home. In Tipton, the bathrooms were always clean. In fact, at that time, I don't recall ever seeing a dirty bathroom. That is, of course, until I was in Howe. It was just dirty, and for some reason I didn't feel comfortable to use those dirty bathrooms. Maybe the fear was unreasonable, but I was 8 and in a very different environment than I was used to. So I would hold it all day until 2:45, and I would run home to my aunt's house. I would ring the doorbell for what felt like 100 times until my cousin finally opened the door. My plan was to run straight upstairs to the bathroom. I never made it. I think I peed on myself right at the front door for 2 weeks until my mom had had enough and told me I better suck it up because she wasn't going to wash my clothes every single day. So, I used the bathrooms to pee. But what about when you have to poop? No way was I about to sit on those disgusting toilets. So for months, I managed not to have to sit on those toilets until one day.